Sounds like that dream you had helped you sort things out.
I suppose it did. But I have begun to wonder. What if it wasn't a dream? What if this life we're leading, all of this, you and me, everything, what if all of this is the illusion?
That's a scary thought.
I know. But maybe, just maybe, Benny isn't the dream. We are. Maybe we're nothing more than figments of his imagination. For all we know, at this very moment, somewhere far beyond all those distant stars, Benny Russell is dreaming of us.
Welcome, everybody, to Deep Space Pride, a gay Star Trek podcast. My name is Mike. I am one of your co-hosts, and with me is Johnson, my co-host, our co-host. Johnson, how are you doing this fine Sunday?
I'm okay, I think. 3-day weekend. I'm excited about that. That's something. It's better than a 2-day weekend.
That is true. It's nice to have that extra time.
I know. I'm excited.
Any big plans for the holiday tomorrow?
I'm gonna go to Queens to pick up some coral from someone.
Oh, okay.
And we are having dinner tomorrow.
Oh, we are having dinner.
I don't know where we're eating. We're probably gonna keep going back and forth until we starve. But something
possibly. I mean, we discussed a possibility, but
there are options.
There are options.
You kind of want ramen. That's all I know.
It is true. I do kind of want ramen. So.
We can do ramen.
But fine. Yeah, but also for those of you who don't know, finally New York City has reopened indoor dining to a 25% capacity. So it is. This is after 11 months. I don't think we've had indoor dining for 11 months. Have we?
Is that correct?
It's been a long time. I don't know.
I think there was a little bit indoor dining. No, there was a little bit indoor dining, and then I think in December or November it kind of shut down.
Okay,
and they did outdoor.
I think it was even earlier than that, but it feels like forever ago that indoor dining was an allowed thing. So, yeah, so we've got that going on. Yeah, so on our holiday weekend, which is nice. It's President's Day here in the U.S.
and Valentine's Day today.
Yes.
Which you and Dennis don't really celebrate, but it's something.
It's not a big holiday for us. You're right. We did discuss this a little bit just to make sure that both of our expectations were the same. So we tend to show and share our affection for one another all the time. So we don't necessarily need a holiday.
Every day is Valentine's Day.
There we go. Yes. So we decided, although that may change in the future, but for now, that is what we have decided. So I think it's important. That's one of the things I would say to any couple out there or people who are dating is to have communicate and have conversations about expectations, especially around holidays. I think it's really important to kind of outline what your expectations or what your traditions are, what you believe, and also make sure that you really do believe that it's important to you and not that it's someone else's expectations put upon you, like the Hallmark card industry. So, or the candy Hershey industry, or whatever your Valentine's Day pick me up is. But also for a lot of people, it's also called Singles Awareness Day. So
I'm single. I'm
yes,
aware.
You are.
I'm aware of the fact I'm single.
Yes. So
Personally.
you are. And any prospects on the dating front?
Absolutely not. There's no one.
No one.
No one.
No one.
But that's okay. It's okay.
That's okay. Yeah. So Johnson, let's get into your episode. And what did you Star Trek this week?
And you people, you're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek.
Yeah, so I have been going through Voyager. So I'm on season 4 now.
You're catching up to me. Oh no, I have to get back and.
Well, I'm doing what you did, or what you're doing rather, which is I'm not watching every single episode. I'm just kind of picking and choosing what I'm watching. And it's really interesting. It's been, I would say, around 20 years since I've seen Voyager, but I literally remember these episodes. I read the synopsis. I remember this episode. And then the episodes I do watch, I remember, oh, this moment's coming up. This one's coming up. And I have no idea. It's been so long since I've watched Voyager. And literally most of these Voyager episodes I've only seen once. I haven't ever done a Voyager rewatch. So I'm like, how do I remember this so well? So I don't know. But most recently, I rewatched Year of Hell. So that 2-parter, which is good.
Okay. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I've been honestly enjoying my Voyager. As I said to you, your Voyager Renaissance, now it's my Voyager Renaissance. So, which actually is funny because right now Jamie is also obsessed with her Da Vinci holodeck program. I'm like, whatever. But
oh gosh.
Yeah, I like Leonardo da Vinci, get out of here. But I'm enjoying it. I really am. I feel I'm liking Voyager more this time than when I watched it the first time. And maybe it's because I'm skipping the episodes that aren't good. For example, I didn't decide to watch the episode where Harry Kim goes to this planet that's like dominated by women, and they want to trap him because they want his DNA to procreate. That one I decided to not watch because I was like, I know exactly what, I don't remember the title of the episode. I read one line of synopsis. I was like, I know exactly what this episode is about. I do not need to watch this episode. Versus obviously Scorpion or Year of Hell or whatever. So overall, I'm really liking it. I didn't forget, but I realized that I was a total shipper of Janeway and Chakotay back in the day. I totally bought into their relationship, kind of. They didn't really go deep into it. They kind of just had, being that it wasn't a serialized show, and they, classic Star Trek's not very good at exploring interpersonal relationships when it comes to romances. But in this case, there were a few episodes here and there, particularly that episode Resolutions, which is when they were stuck on a planet because they both got bitten by a bug or whatever, and they spent like 6 months together or something like that. But I was a total shipper. I realized that back in the day, even now, I'm a total shipper. But I know it doesn't go anywhere because, Chakotay falls in love with 7 of 9 by Endgame. So anyway, I feel there was like so much lost potential. And sometimes there'll be like a little touch here. Jamie's also very touchy. I've noticed this. She touches everyone. I don't know. It's like, she's very affectionate in everyone's family, but it's, she touches people's arms, their shoulders, their backs. I'm like, Janeway, stop touching everyone. But I don't know. She's very, very touchy. I've noticed this, and I always pick it out, but she's particularly touchy with Chakotay. So I'm always like watching out for that. And then, another thing that I'm really trying to focus on, because, it's been 20 so years since Voyager ended, approx. And we know that there were all these issues between Kate Mulgrew and Jerry Ryan, right? Like, we know there's been rumblings about that. It's not a secret that Kate Mulgrew was not the biggest fan of Jerry Ryan. And I'm like, you know what? Kate Mulgrew is an amazing actress because I'm not detecting any friction between Captain Janeway and 7 of 9, like, at all. Like, they seem like Captain Janeway seems genuinely affectionate towards 7. And I'm like, you know what? This just really speaks to how Kate Mulgrew is an amazing actress because she can just compartmentalize her feelings. Sure, 5 minutes ago when they're putting on makeup or whatever, Kate Mulgrew is like whatever, like she's probably giving attitude on set. But then once they start filming, it's all professional. So I'm actually looking for that, and I'm not detecting it. And I'm just like, you know what? Kate Mulgrew is actually a great actress because she can just hide those feelings.
She is a really great actress, and I never picked up on that. I did not pick up on the touchy-feely aspects of her.
Oh my God, look for it. She touches everyone. There's so much touching.
Well, I sort of
no one's off limits.
I paused my rewatch. I actually just checked to see where I left off. I was in season 6. I just finished Tinker Tenor Dr. Spy was the last episode that I watched.
That was a good episode.
So yeah,
all about the doctor.
But I have not continued on as other things have kind of come up. So
yeah, I'm just really, I think season 3 is where, and this oftentimes happens with most of these series, season 3, season 4, there are just a slew of good episodes. The end of season 3 is really strong. Other than Scorpion, there was, I'm trying to remember, I think there was a Great Doctor episode. I think it was the one where he was like losing his memory or something. That one, if you recall, where, they had to like reformat him. There was the episode Distant Origin about the dinosaurs. That was a great episode. There was just a slew of good episodes towards the end of season 3. I really enjoyed it. And season 4, I'm sad that Cass left. I knew it was coming. I was always a Cass fan, and I'm like, oh, bye, Cass. But now we have 7, and she's basically the highlight of every episode. So it's good. We'll see if I continue my pace, but honestly, that's what I've been Star Trekking this whole time.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm really enjoying it.
Great. So, well, good.
What about you? What have you been Star Trekking?
Well, I haven't been watching anything until yesterday when I was working on my new office setup, and I binged the whole season of Lower Decks.
I can't believe you watched all of it. It was so funny.
I mean, it's, they're 30-minute episodes, so it's 5 hours, and so yeah, it was really enjoyable. Enjoyed every moment of it. Funny, lighthearted, good, a lot of, I picked up on obviously all the things that we talked about when we were watching it originally, the callbacks, the, all the fun little parts. I mean, I'm a huge Mariner fan. Tawny Newsom's amazing. So I really enjoyed watching it again.
I mean, Lower Decks season 1 was so good. I mean, I would definitely rate it above Discovery season 3, which that I did not love.
We know.
And Picard season 1. I mean, I thought it was just such a consistent first season, and it just hit so many. It hit so many good marks.
I mean, I thought Picard season 1 was just as good. I mean,
I think I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. But
I have many complaints about Picard season 1.
Well, you have many complaints in general
about life in general.
But yeah, so I watched all of the first season of Lower Decks, and then I actually started watching Picard again. Okay. But I only got halfway through before the end of the night of the first episode. So yeah, and then today actually I picked back up and restarted the Picard novel.
I thought
about Riker.
Season 3, I was gonna roll my eyes.
No, I was no, settle down.
Continue your thought.
The Dark Veil by James Swallow. So I started listening to that this afternoon. So this time I'm more, I don't know, I guess I'm more inclined to listen to it now than when it first came out. And I think in part because of the finale of Lower Decks. Obviously you get to see Titan and Deanna and Will, and then Boimler heads off to the Titan and gets the new uniform and everything. And so Mariner's
so confusing to me, but
Mariner's leaving him voicemails.
Yeah.
One of the things I did really love about rewatching Lower Decks is, just filling in all the bleeps in my mind. I mean,
what do you mean?
All the bleeps. I mean, they swear a lot in that show, and it's all bleeped out. But it's just fun to hear those
I
bleeps.
don't
And
know. Why they bleep it out? I mean, they don't bleep out the cursing on the card. They just drop the F-bomb.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's maybe it's a cartoon piece because kids are more
Yes.
likely to watch it because
I
it's
mean,
of
I don't
its.
expect the F-bomb on like Prodigy, but it's still CBS All Access. So I wouldn't.
I don't know. I mean, give them a call, ask them why it was bleeped out. I don't know, but it was still pretty good.
Still good.
And
Then
still,
subtract.
you still fill it in your mind anyway. So
Right.
you still hear it even though you don't hear them saying it.
Right.
So yeah, so that's what I've been Star Trekking this week, and that's yeah, that brings me to talk a little bit about one of our sponsors for the Trek Geeks podcast.
FanSets. Their pins have character.
Yes, thank you. And they support our network. So the funny thing is that I just got an order of FanSets, and I did have I ordered a Mariner pin and a mini Delta from Lower Decks. So I did get those.
Is your
I
pin
also
board not full yet?
It was not full, and in fact, so after the last so remember last time I was talking about my pin board and how I had not finished it. Well, I did
Yes, I
finish
recall.
it because the next day after we recorded that, we had a snow day for work. And so part of my using that snow day was to finish my pin board. So go and check out, we'll post it on Instagram. It's on my personal Instagram. Or it will be by the time this is released. And check out my pin board. But I also so I finished it that day. So I finished it on the snow day, but then I went back. I got a few new pins in. I also, in cleaning out and organizing things, I found a few other random pins. So I put them in there as well. So it's mainly FanSets and Star Trek pins, but there are some other eclectic pins in my display as well. So
are you going to start another pin board once this one's full, or what are you?
I am not. I'm gonna slow down a little bit. I'm really gonna be picky and choosy about which pins I get.
Okay.
The order, surprisingly, so they were out of stock of the California class Cerritos. So I was kind of bummed about that. So I didn't get that. And it just gives me another reason to place another order eventually. But that, and I didn't pick up Jen Reese. I should have picked up Jen Reese. I did get a Kyler Detmer though. So Detmer is now part of my collection. And Johnson, those of you, obviously none of you can see Johnson, but he is mildly uninterested and
sorry,
semi-bored as I go on about FanSets. But anyway, so FanSets, because they're one of our sponsors, we have a promotion code that you can use when you place your order at FanSets, and that code is DS Pride, all in caps. And that'll get you 10% off your next order of FanSets. And they're also doing a contest, which they do this Women of Trek collection, and I talked a little bit about it the last time. I have Uhura and Jadzia Dax. And I believe they're coming out with a re-release of Beverly Crusher. And I'll also go through some other, Dr. Beverly Crusher is coming out actually tomorrow, the 15th of February. They're releasing a new Beverly Crusher pin. Also coming out February 15th, they have Elnor, a Choose to Live pin. I'm excited to check that one out because I already have Elnor. Raffi pin. I love Raffi. I know you do not.
I hate Raffi.
A Picard
so fucking
pin.
annoying.
Tell us how you really feel.
I just don't. She needs to tone down the fucking JL thing in season 2. I'm just saying, like, it's so fucking disrespectful. Continue.
Okay. They are also releasing Picard episode pins for episode 6, The Impossible Box, and episode 7, one of our favorites, Nepenthe.
Yes.
And also, today is Valentine's Day, and if you'd like to get your own Horgon, you can do that. They got those in early, and so you can check those all out at FanSets. And so Beverly Crusher is coming out this week, but they're also getting ready to launch their third series of Women of Trek collection, and they want help from our listeners. So if you go to trekgeeks.com/vote, you can submit who you want to be in series 3 in their Women of Trek line, and you'll be entered to win in a random drawing a complete Women of Trek master set and a set of the series 2 pins. So that's pretty nice, a whole set. The master set, I believe, comes framed, and all the series 2 pins include Tilly and T'Pol are in there, Jadzio is in there, Beverly Crusher, and Christine Chapel as well. So go to trekgeeks.com/vote to put your choice in, and maybe you'll get chosen and win all of these wonderful prizes. So
all the pins.
Yes. And we want to thank FanSets for sponsoring the Trek Geeks podcast network and Deep Space Pride.
Thanks, FanSets.
I have fought the good fight. I have finished the course. I have kept the faith.
I've never known you to quote from the Bible.
I'm full of surprises, aren't I?
So let's move on to the meat of this episode. So it is Black History Month, and we are going to talk about one of the probably the strongest and most pivotal and just impressive episodes in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which is Far Beyond the Stars. And I actually recently rewatched this. I actually watched it on the date that it was originally released on February 11th. So it's been 23 years.
Coincidentally, though.
Totally coincidentally.
It wasn't on purpose.
Yeah. It was not on purpose, but kind of funny that I did watch it on that particular day. So we are going to talk about this, and actually before we ever launched this podcast, we actually did do an episode on this, kind of one of our many test episodes that we had recorded, and
but it was so long ago.
It was.
We live in a different world now, kind of. Do we? So we thought that it would make sense to rewatch and re-record.
Yeah, and so let me give you the brief. If you have not watched Far Beyond the Stars in a while, you should, and we'll talk about a little bit about why you should. But here's a brief from Netflix. It says, after a friend's ship is destroyed, Sisko contemplates leaving Starfleet while having visions of himself and his crew as sci-fi writers in the 1950s. So, first off, being the two of us are living in New York City. You're from here. I am not.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing old New York footage was pretty cool.
That was fine. It didn't really hit me anyway. I was like, oh,
okay. Well,
it's like some set on the Paramount lot. It was fine.
Well, not the set, but the sky views of New York that they kind of opened with.
Oh yes, yes.
And those sorts of things was really cool. But so I thought we'd just walk through the episode, kind of talk about certain parts of it, and get our, have a conversation about its kind of importance. So this was 23 years ago, and
so long ago.
Long ago, but still very prescient. Very much can be part of the conversation today. Is
because not much has changed, unfortunately.
That's sadly true. Yeah. So we open this episode right with Joseph Sisko coming to Ben's office to chat with him after Ben has learned that his friend has died in the Dominion War.
Right.
So, and he's really kind of questioning whether he should stay in Starfleet or not. And then we kind of get right into it with Ben seeing a vision of Renee Auberjonois. Joanna, I don't know how to say his last name.
Renee. I just call him Renee. I don't know.
Renee. Anyway, yes.
Yeah.
Odo,
Odo.
not being Odo,
Yeah.
looking in a 50s era suit, walking across the station's command center and outside of his office. And he like, who is that?
And everyone else is like, who's who? What are you talking about?
Yeah,
You're crazy.
Right. And when you first kind of get this, when you first kind of see that, you think, man, what are we seeing here? What's going on? But also, like, first of all, you really get the impression right off the bat how exhausted and tired Ben Sisko is. Like, I think that
Avery Brooks does a great job articulating how over it he is.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge showcase for Avery Brooks, really.
And he directed it.
Right, yeah.
I was like, I never understand when someone acts in something and directs it. Like, I'm like, that blows my mind. Obviously, you have an assistant director on set helping you, but it's just like so much work because you literally do all the heavy lifting. It's like every scene is focused on you, particularly this episode, and you're also behind the camera and kind of framing every shot. It just blows my mind. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's a powerful episode and a dramatic episode, like a really tough episode.
Very dramatic.
We see him really going through the motions here, all of the emotions too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think right off the bat, we see how tired Ben Sisko is, and how losing a very close friend. He was at their wedding. He was at his wedding, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Ben was at his wedding.
Yeah, and so it kind of goes from there. You see that, and he starts seeing these visions, and then suddenly he walks.
He sees Michael Dorn.
He's in
the hallway.
Yeah, Michael Dorn as a baseball player, right? Walk into a room, and
by the way, I have to say, Michael Dorn is a handsome man. Like, older, probably too old for me, but he's out of all that makeup and out of all those prosthetics. I'm like, oh, he's a handsome man, and this episode really also struck me because Worf is usually just such a gruff, unhappy character. Most of the time it's kind of just like, unhappy or kind of just really serious. But in this episode, we really get to see Michael Dorn play a very jovial character, very smiley, happy baseball player, right? Baseball player, correct?
Correct, yes.
And I'm like, yeah, he's just literally, I think the first time I watched this episode and you see Michael Dorn coming through the hallway, I don't think I registered that it was Michael Dorn. And then I was like, oh, wait, was that Michael Dorn? It took me like a second. But anyway, this is also a moment for everyone to be out. No, everyone to be out of character. No one had to wear makeup. It was great, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny
I'm sure Renee was thrilled, like, because he didn't have to wear any makeup. Like,
right. Yeah, especially Renee, right? That brought back a memory for me. Michael Dorn was the first Star Trek actor I actually saw in person at a convention.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I've
never been to a convention. Did I tell you? Do you know this about me? I've never been to a Star Trek convention.
I think I knew this about you. Okay. Yeah.
I'm just not into conventions. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, but we are going to Vegas
if it happens.
Yes. Yeah, so I actually don't remember what year this was, but I remember it being a smaller convention. I don't even remember whether I was in Boston or New York. I don't think it was in New York. I think it must have been in Boston or somewhere in the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in a hotel, like, conference room type thing. And I mean, I was probably like 20, 30 feet away from him.
Did you touch him? Did you do the Janeway and touch his shoulder?
I did not do a Janeway. No. I'll have to see while we're talking if I can find that photo, because it's a pretty old photo. It's also, one of the first. I think when I look at my photo roll, I think I'm going to find it at the very beginning of the photo roll. So it's like one of the first digital pictures that I ever took.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah. So we see Ben follow Michael Dorn's character, the baseball player, through the door, and suddenly he's in 1950s Earth.
And then he gets run over by a car.
And then he gets run over by a car. So
But he's actually okay.
yeah, he's fine. But so suddenly we're these visions are actually becoming more real, and Cassidy is with him in the hallway when this all happens, and she doesn't see any of this. So this is clearly something that Ben is experiencing on his own. So it's just, and that's kind of where it starts. You kind of, you get the impression that this is a Star Trek episode, obviously, but that it's that there's something else going on here. But what I think is really deceiving, but also really meaningful about this episode is that it goes down a dark hallway of the Black experience in the 1950s and in 1998, still relevant
and
in 1998 when it came out, and still relevant
in 2021.
2021. Yeah. So, it's a powerful episode in that way. And I think, as we kind of go on into the episode, so Ben actually becomes Benny and Benny Russell, and the thrust of this story happens in 1950s New York City, and Benny is a writer. And wow, after the first scene that always sticks out to me and that's still really powerful is that scene where he's coming out of the office. It's late at night, and he drops the futuristic picture of Deep Space Nine on the ground, and one of the cops steps on it. And this whole interaction that you get from
With
them,
Ducat and Wei Yun.
Yes. Yeah. Who are both white cops and already hassle him for one, coming out of an office, like, what do you do there? Like questioning him for no reason other than because he is a Black man. And it's just a powerful scene, and one that has been repeated so many thousands of times for so many Black people in our country. And it's just, you immediately feel empathy for Ben, or Benny in this case. And it's, for me, it jars me into this thinking that this is no longer a Star Trek episode. This is like a drama about living as a Black man in 50s.
One of the things I really did, and you kind of touched on it, one of the things I really did like about this episode was how they basically made this whole narrative very meta, because Benny is the one that is kind of dreaming up this story about Benjamin Sisko as a Black captain, and Deep Space Nine is the space station. I really liked how they use that as a narrative framing device for the episode, and how it was so important for Benny to be telling this story, not only as a Black author, but also having this opportunity. He ultimately was not able to publish the story, but how important it was for him to envision a future where a Black man can be captain. It's just like meta on so many different levels, for Avery Brooks as an actor, for Benny as a fictional character telling a story that's fictional. Avery Brooks is also behind the camera. It's like so crazy. But it works. It really works well. So that's one of the things I really do like about this episode. And where Star Trek, I think, plays most effectively is when it gets into this sandbox where it plays in on itself, but then also uses allegory to effectively tell a lesson or a story. This was when I think that when I first watched it, I still think there's a little bit. I do think that this is in some ways a more direct and heavy-handed episode in that it's teaching a lesson. And it's, like you're saying, it's obviously a lesson about it's a lesson, but a look into the Black experience in America in the 50s and also in the 90s. But at the same time, there's all these other layers to it that it isn't just like a straight shot either. Like you can kind of peel it back, and there are just so many ways to look at it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this episode can be viewed standalone. This episode can still have power, even if you are not a Star Trek fan. I mean, honestly, if I were an educator and covering the Black experience in America, this would be something that I would show. What's one of the things that I personally committed to this month was reading Cast by Isabel Wilkerson, which is an amazing novel, not a novel, a nonfiction, about the origins of our discontent and the caste system that is here in America. And it's really, this is a powerful example of the caste system and what it looks like, what it looked like then, what it still looks like in a lot of ways. So I really find that this is almost an educational supplement to reading that book. And I'm about halfway through that book, so I've not completed it yet. But, I've listened to the Oprah podcast about it as well. And the stories in the book and the stories that you hear are very similar to what you see in this episode. The other thing, the other scene that really sticks out for me for this episode is when Jake gets shot and killed in the street, and Benny runs to kind of hold him and to look at him, and you see all these cop cars everywhere, and you watch Benny get the crap kicked out of him. But also what you see, so you see that violence against a Black man by white police officers. What you also see, if you are aware, is you're watching the crowd and how other policemen are holding back others and holding the crowd at bay. And, they're holding Cassie, who's with him, and, holding her back from joining him. And it is just watching that happen. It's traumatizing. It's not unlike watching the evening news. Certainly when the Black Lives Matter protests were happening, specifically, right. Things happening in Seattle that happened last year. It's traumatizing to see that. And in this case, because we're Deep Space Nine fans, and we're fans of Avery Brooks, and we're fans of Ben Sisko, this takes on an even deeper meaning, and it causes even more empathy and more compassion, and really it puts you in the experience even more than normal. It's really a powerful scene. But I know there's another powerful scene that you wanted to talk a little bit about.
Which one? Are you talking about towards the end?
Yes, towards the end.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I really, and Avery Brooks is such just a powerhouse actor. Like, he just has so much gravitas, and he just knows how to play scenes really well and kind of strike the right notes. And obviously, I think that one can say is the climax of this episode is when Renee's character, I do not recall the in-universe names of each of the characters, but is when Renee's character comes in to deliver news that the publisher didn't want to publish this month's issue.
So it's pulped,
right. So it's pulped.
Yep.
And that Benny was also fired. And Avery's performance in the scene when he just really, you can feel the anguish and just how much emotion he's feeling. And I think this is really just a culmination of the character's journey throughout the episode, but then also I think Avery is putting a lot of himself in the scene, where he is putting a lot of his experiences as a Black man in America, a Black actor in America, and just fueling Benny's breakdown, where he's just again the level of anguish and misery that he exudes, but then just him like falling on the floor, and it's just there, and you can see like just he's crying, he's screaming, he's collapsing. There's a lot going on. And I was saying this to you earlier. I just think another reason why this is so effective is we rarely see that much emotion come out of our characters on Star Trek. I think Deep Space Nine's definitely probably most people would agree that's one of the darker series, and everyone gets put through the ringer at some point. But rarely do we see a scene with this much emotion. Versus, again, I will not talk about it too much, but on Discovery, I feel every episode there's crying. I complain about this in season 3. There's crying, there's tears, to the point where it's like, all right, like every moment, every character moment, every hard decision, there are tears, there's crying. Versus this, where it was so effective because they don't play that card very often. So I think that you can just really feel it. And again, just a great moment for Avery Brooks. I think that I was reading some commentary about this where the cast was just kind of letting him do his thing, because he was just so caught up in Avery was so caught up in the moment of playing that character, that moment for Benny, that the cast, all they could do was kind of just respond and react the best they could, and in some ways let Avery just do his thing for this scene because he was just so caught up in it. So yeah, I think that there in some ways like there's like a like character acting in it where he's just like putting so much of himself into it that it just makes it so effective. But obviously, yes, it's a culmination of everything that happens to Benny in this episode, and yeah, and then he's just carted off to like the insane asylum. And yeah, I mean, it was just definitely one of the highlights for me in this episode.
Yeah, it was definitely powerful. The other thing I wanted to talk about with this episode too is these occasional flashes of the Deep Space Nine reality into the vision, if you were, of what was happening to Benny Russell. What do you think? What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that it plays into what we usually see when it comes to visions that are delivered from prophets, where it's a mix of reality and, the message they're trying to deliver. I think even in episode 1 in Emissary, we see like the prophets are kind of playing scenes. Is it reality? Is it a vision? Is it a story? Is it a lesson? Is it a story? What is it? So I think that it is somewhat par for the course. It is using snippets of reality, snippets of people in Ben Sisko's life, and using those elements to teach him some sort of lesson. But yeah, did you have a negative reaction to that, or was it confusing?
I mean, it was a little confusing. I think it took me out of the story, and I almost wish that it had played out as one complete story in the 1950s. And then when he was carted away to the asylum, he would wake up and be in the infirmary on Deep Space Nine, and kind of had this vision and had to make sense of it. Also, we talked a little bit about this before we started recording, but you thought, and now I believe this too, like it was also the whole point of this vision was to remind Ben that he was on the right path.
Right. Yeah, you're talking about
the whole purpose of this vision,
the purpose of the vision
and how it came from the prophets, and how the prophets were kind of involved in all of this. And obviously, you know, the confusing part of this story as well was the parts that Joe Sisko played in the 1950s version, where he was the priest and kind of preaching from the soapbox per se,
right,
about the prophets, which really didn't make sense to Benny, but didn't make sense to me either.
I mean, it was a little heavy-handed. That was one element that was more heavy-handed because he's, you know, no minister on the street corner is going to talk about the prophets that much from scripture.
Right.
Like, there's definitely a little bit of that, but you know, he was really hammering home the words of the prophets. I was like, I get it, I understand. But then obviously I think it's playing into the messianic figure that Ben Sisko as the emissary plays. I mean, like, you know, I get it, I understand. That was a little bit.
Do you think it was foreshadowing, or was it kind of something else?
You mean Ben Sisko's ultimate sacrifice, or what do you
mean?
Well,
I mean that, yeah, obviously in the finale that happens, but you know, the heavy-handedness of the minister in the 1950s, is he sort of foreshadowing and saying, like,
I mean, not necessarily. I didn't necessarily see it like that, but I think Ben Sisko as the emissary is always seen as sent by the gods, right? Sent by the Bajoran gods to be the emissary / Messiah, and ultimately kind of being the advocate of the gods. And ultimately, I don't even remember from Bajoran scripture what exactly the emissary was supposed to do. Like, was the emissary supposed to bring peace and prosperity, or that was?
Yeah, you know, I don't remember exactly either. I'm trying to remember.
Basically, what like he was like a godly messenger of some sort.
Yeah. But usher in a new age. Maybe the point of the emissary was to usher in a new age for the Bajoran people.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the Bajoran lore, but I do think that there are shades of him being like a Christ-like Messiah of some sort here. I mean, I don't know if that ultimately was a foreshadowing of him needing to quote unquote sacrifice himself at the end, but you know, I think there's definitely a play into, especially given that Deep Space Nine was our big first foray into religion in Star Trek.
Right. Yeah.
I think that they definitely took elements from different Earth religions, but I definitely think Christianity was one of the things they played into when it comes to like the emissary, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And what who the emissary was.
Right. Yeah.
He also had, there was like this, like, I mean, we don't explore this until the end of season 6, beginning of season 7, how he actually was, his birth was actually, remember, like, a prophet, one of the prophets was actually his real mother or something like that. Even I don't remember all the details, but it was like a miraculous birth. It wasn't just like, you know, he was a standard human that was just chosen to be the emissary. It was actually Sarah, the prophet, was actually his mother. Like,
good thoughts. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, you know, really to kind of talk about in this episode that we haven't already.
I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there's like more layers to it, but I think, I think overall, I think that it was just, like, I don't know if it was kind of shoehorned in where they were like, oh, we need to have an episode to talk about the Black experience in America, and let's try to like fit this into Ben Sisko's journey a little bit. But I still, at the end of the day, no matter like what the intention was, I think that it was pulled off really well and was really effective.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's a powerful episode. It's still relevant today. It's still, it's actually almost surprisingly too relevant today to our world and to our country. So it's it's great to go back and watch, watch an episode that still comes to life.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a lot of the, obviously the TOS shows and the episodes and a lot of even some of Next Generation are very dated, right? But
Right.
this one episode is not dated. So I think it's really a powerful testament to how Star Trek can talk to really important topics and continue the discussion long after it's aired.
For sure.
So yeah, I mean, really powerful episode. And I think this is worthy of our rewatch of anyone who wants to better understand the Black experience in America, even today, even though this is set in the 1950s, or the Benny Russell story is set in the 1950s.
Wait, what
right?
year did it come out again?
This is from 1998.
98. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, yeah, I think we've done as much justice to this episode as we can. The one other thing that I think we did talk about before we got online with this was just the relationship between Joe Sisko and Ben Sisko.
Yeah.
I think that this episode highlights how close they are as father and son, but it also and then if you take the whole series into account as well, you see 3 generations of Cisco men and the closeness of that family, and it's powerful. I think that
it's one of the things I like best about, and I'm sure it's been discussed ad nauseum, where you see Ben and Jake and their relationship, and even Joseph and Ben. I mean, there's a little bit more, I would say that's a little more complex when it comes to their relationship, but definitely between Ben Sisko and Jake Sisko, that's one of the things that I think is, for me, like for DS9, it was just so, I love their relationship. They can joke with each other. They're close. Jake actually listens to his dad, but he's still his own person. There's so many layers to that relationship that I just really like a lot. And I do think that in interviews, Avery Brooks has mentioned that for him, it was important that they showcase a healthy relationship between 2, Black men in a father-son relationship, especially in this case, being an only dad, because Jennifer, I was like, what's her name? Jennifer, Jennifer died much earlier. And I think, it just comes across so natural, where they just have such a strong bond. And we see this obviously in this episode too, where Jake, I don't know his, again, alter ego's name, but they had, even though they weren't father and son in this vision, that they still had this like strong relationship, and how Benny really was playing a father figure, if not a father, to Jake's character. But yeah, I think that's another thing, more like we're saying, like across the series, but just a really strong showcase of a healthy Black relationship between a father and son.
Yeah, a loving relationship, but also there's a friendship there, there's a parentage there, there's love there, there's also discipline there, and I agree. It's a powerful example of fatherhood, and certainly a powerful example of Black fatherhood, which is certainly something that a lot of people say isn't shown or isn't showcased or isn't seen in television in general.
Not enough,
So
it's usually probably the other way. Usually, like there's like a lot of conflict or
or an
generational
absent
conflict.
father.
Yeah, or absent father. Yeah.
Father. Yeah. So this is really an example of powerful Black fatherhood. So
And they just have so much chemistry too. Like that's part of it for sure. They just play off each other so well. They just did a great job of casting. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So and they did a great job in casting Joe Sisko too. I mean, that you see the generations, you see the closeness, and that you can see the chemistry, like the familial chemistry.
Yeah.
It's it's evident, very evident and clear. So you can actually see that love and that compassion and that care and that discipline came from Joe to Ben, and Ben is passing it on to Jake.
Right.
So it's I think it's great in that way. So definitely worth watching that show. I mean, we're both huge fans of Deep Space Nine, so
yes,
it is besides Next Generation, which we both grew up on, Deep Space Nine is kind of the heart and soul of our fandom. So yeah,
definitely not Discovery season 3.
Well, for you it's not.
For me.
And you continually try to get those jabs in.
Like Discovery season 3. Oh my god.
Yes, I think you need to let it go.
I'll never let it go.
It's over.
Hashtag never forget.
Anyway, so that wraps up our discussion of Far Beyond the Stars. Definitely worth watching. Definitely great if you're listening and you're an educator of any kind. Certainly an interesting and very prescient episode that you could show to your students that would really help foster a great discussion and education of the Black experience that was evident in the 50s, that was evident in the 90s, that is evident today as well. So
definitely.
Yeah. So I think that's going to do it for us for this week. Why don't you share with our listeners how they can get in touch with us?
Yeah. So if you have any thoughts, notes, or questions, we would love to hear from you. You can email us at deepspacepride@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on social media, on Twitter and Instagram. And our handles there is just Deep Space Pride.
Cool. And next week, we're going to continue our Black History Month focus. And we are going to talk about the Nichelle Nichols documentary, Woman in Motion. About
documentaries, but sure.
Yes, about her impact on NASA. And that actually comes out Tuesday. You can pre-order it on iTunes or Amazon.
Apparently, is that true?
I don't know. But I do know, obviously we do know Amazon and iTunes. So you can pre-order it either place, and we both have. So we'll be watching it and discussing it next week on Deep Space Pride. So we hope you'll purchase it, watch it, and join us for that episode. Watch it and join us for the discussion that we're going to have on that. So that's all I have for now. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll talk to you all next week.
Bye, everyone.
Deep Space Pride is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com, or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.